So if you've got your unique selling proposition in your head, or maybe you want to go to your website and look at what you've got written about your unique selling proposition, a quick reminder is, one, it has to be unique to you, obviously. It's got to have meaningful specifics. It can't be general. This is an area where I think a lot of people struggle. This is the specifics. It's got to have a very strong appeal to your target market, because being different for being different's sake is not going to give you any juice. You know, it's got to be meaningful to the customer, and it's got to be defensible before they buy. So you got to be able to prove it in some way, shape, or form, or validate whatever it is that your claim that you're making, right? So where I still see problems with unique selling proposition is primarily your unique selling proposition is pretty damn vague, and there's a lot of platitudes. And I know that's probably, for some of you, it's more of a copywriting problem than it is the stuff problem. Like, in other words, like many of you that I reviewed, many of you are doing really well in understanding unique selling proposition, in making it a real thing in your business. Like, a lot of you have made tremendous progress, and for that, I applaud you. It's just you're still having a little trouble, like, communicating the specifics of it, okay? You highlight things that are not all that common or unique. So again, it has to be unique. Who else can say this? And I'm going to go through some examples to highlight this. It lacks specifics. You're talking in facts and features, not how it benefits your client. And this is another big one, because you have to interpret the value. This is something Cobain taught me. So when High Point University put a steakhouse in the university, a lot of people made fun of it. They actually used it against him. They said, oh, it's just this foo-foo thing that these kids can go to the steakhouse. So he had to make sure he interpreted the value. It's not just to have a steakhouse. He said that we want to teach, his unique selling proposition for High Point is the life skills university. He said, because a lot of colleges will teach you the academic stuff, but they don't teach you the character stuff. They don't teach you manners. They don't teach you. So part of the steakhouse is your son or daughter is going to be going on interviews, or they're going to be meeting with important clients. They're going to be representing companies. And you do not, they might go to a lunch with them or a dinner, and you don't want your son or daughter stabbing the steak and sawing it like this, right? Because now if in that interview or with that customer, they come across as being very ill-mannered and ignorant and immature. And he said, we want to develop your child holistically, so when they come to the restaurant, they have to make reservations, and they have to dress appropriately. And they're not allowed to have their cell phones out while sitting at the table. And we teach them how to place the order, and how to use the silverware, and just how to conduct themselves in a social setting. So if he just advertised, we have a steakhouse that your son or daughter can come to once a week for free, that's not interpreting the value. So a lot of you have something that you're doing, but you need to make sure you can articulate the value and connect the bridge of, here's why you want this. Because until you interpret the value, it can be seen as silly or frivolous or misinterpreted or something. It could actually be a negative, all right? So make sure you really got to connect the dots. The other thing I'm seeing a lot of is you're showcasing facts and features. Your clients just don't care. And again, I'll show you some examples. And you're not providing proof or evidence, because it has to be defensible. Remember, it has to be defensible before they buy, okay? So I hope, I didn't get permission, but so where's Cohen? Because I know, okay, there, I hope you don't mind. Like, dude, it's kind of like, it's always easier to ask forgiveness than permission. So, so this is a perfect example of, he's got something, but just needed a little help in communicating it, okay? So this was it before. It was other IT firms lock you into long-term contracts, eliminating their risk of losing you as a client when they cannot deliver quality service, tying your hands from making the best decision for your organization. We do not require long-term contracts because we believe we need to earn your business every day. This focuses our team to provide superior service to our clients, making your best interests our priority. So one thing is it's missing a summary. You need a summary headline, right? Okay. The first sentence is a little bit clumsy to read and understand. Here's another tip. When you write any kind of marketing copy, take 2 copies of it. And you hold a copy and you give it to somebody else and say, read this. And watch them read it. If any place that they stumble in reading it, make a highlighter note. Because they're not reading, it's not reading well, okay? And I actually learned that as a copywriting tip like years ago. So anytime you want something, get somebody else to read it, you face them, you watch them, and if they can read it smoothly without any kind of problems, first pass through. See, I've been looking at this so I can read it, but but it's a little clumsy. So it's not bad. I'm not poking at them. I'm just saying that this is an example. And the last sentence is well, I would hope so, because it says, making your best interests our priority. And again, I get it, and I understand it, but it's still a platitude because everybody says it. Right? So here's what we just simply changed it to. No restrictive long-term contracts, right? So even if you also have to write, because there's people who will skim read. So you got to summarize it really quick and concise. We keep our clients by providing excellent service, not by locking them into long-term contracts with fees and penalties for canceling. This keeps us focused on earning your business every day. Like, so much more concise, all right? Now, there was another one. It said, you have a whole team of Sundog staff available to your organization to resolve day-to-day problems, deliver on projects, training, consultations every day. Although you have a primary engineer that knows you best, every one of our engineers will rotate through your organization over time to become familiar with your staff and knowledgeable of your operation, which is how we provide the best service. And again, it's good. I mean, I got that's good. It's exact, but it's missing a summary headline, and we got to figure out a way to write it more succinctly. So the headline is, you get a full IT team, not a single IT guy, right? Just nail it, boom, right there, real concise. When you outsource your IT support to us, you get a team of 30 plus engineers. I think I made that up. I don't know if that's true. If it's not true, please don't publish it, all right? Took a little creative license. With depth of experience and specialized knowledge you can't get from a smaller IT firm or a single IT person, in addition to assigning you a primary engineer who knows you best. So the rest of it you can read, right? So all it needed is a little bit to the next level, okay? Now, here's what I will tell you. Many of you keep stubbornly saying, I'm not a good writer. And here's what I want you to take: a different viewpoint on writing. Writing is the best way to teach critical thinking. So it's a shame, because universities tell students to write essays, write an essay, write a dissertation, write a whatever, but they don't tell them why. Well, why are you doing it? Well, because I need a grade. No. No, it's not because you want the grade. It's because you need to be able to articulate and communicate an argument or a thought or a belief. And it's not easy. I mean, you really want to sit down and rework it and rework it and rework it and comb through it. Is there a tighter way I can say it? Is there a more succinct way? Is there a more powerful word I can use here? And that teaches you critical thinking. So writing out your unique selling proposition is an exercise in critical thinking. Right? It's not just, oh, well, Robin, give me a template. See, you miss all the good. It would be like a student and saying, okay, well, we'll just cheat and get somebody else to write your essay. Yeah, you can do that. First of all, it's cheating. But also, you lose the opportunity to learn how to be a critical thinker, to develop an argument, to convey an idea in a powerful, succinct way. And you need that practice. You need that, because if you can do it on paper, everything that I teach, I write out on paper first, because I think through it and I move things around and I, rewrite words, and this is a better way of saying it, or here's a story that will illustrate this, and I'm always improving that. And it's about, how do you make those arguments? So I want you to have this, when you go back, really work on this, because it's critical thinking.